Welcome to No Apologies on Beck, where we are unafraid to speak the truth. I am your host, Rick Becker, our co-host, Lori Hintz. Today we're going to be talking about COVID,
yes,
marijuana, and hedging on oil. I mean, we are all over the board.
a plethora of information for you today.
So hang with us through the show because it's a lot of interesting information.
Yeah, hold on tight.
That's
okay,
right.
So to begin, we're going to give you a little bit of an update on COVID and a couple of different areas about it too. Particularly, you will note that the threat level I call it the threat level in North Dakota, is now to green.
The Rona threat.
As of tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., as active COVID-19 cases continued to drop, Burgum adjusts statewide risk level to low or green, increases recommended occupancy limits. He put out this press release, and so at 8 a.m. tomorrow, we are down to a little lower level. However, not a lot of changes in what is going on as far as masking, but some slight changes as far as restaurants go. I wanted to put this up specifically, thanks guys, so that you would see it moves for food service establishments from, is that 65% of licensed facility capacity to 200 patrons to 80% of licensed facility, up to 300 patrons with social distance. I mean, these are pretty...
So it's 80% for restaurant, 75% for banquets.
Right.
So here's the scoop. I had envisioned that the way Burgum must be picking these numbers.
Right.
50%, 60%, 65, 80, 75.
Seems random to me.
And I found what I'm sure is the way he was doing it.
Okay.
75%.
75%.
75%.
Now.
What about for banquets? What about for banquets?
That makes perfect sense. So and then for
banquets, 80%. 80%. However, Lori.
Yes.
It turns out I'm wrong. This is not how he does it, because we got actual video footage of how he made the determination for these various percentages. Go ahead and roll, please.
Now determining most prudent move for insurance company. Bailout. The most prudent move is a bailout. Bail out the insurance company.
Yeah, so
hey, whatever works.
I guess that wasn't the video of his decision, but I guess that's the method he uses. I was a little bit wrong on that.
Well, as you can tell, we're being very facetious about this because it is completely random. There is no rhyme or no reason to it.
Yeah.
And I'm certain there are very large metrics and very large numbers that probably some very pointy-headed geek with a pocket protector has come up with.
No. Don't give them that benefit of the doubt. They're pulling it out of their behinds.
Okay.
Absolutely. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just whatever sounds good. The way everything is gone. You throw something at the wall, you see if it sticks. You say the experts are behind you. You pick 10 o'clock to close bars instead of 9 or 11. You pick 75% for banquets and 80% for restaurant. It's baloney, and I guess you can believe in it if that makes you feel good.
Okay, now I also have a great United States map, and this is an interesting map for you. This is showing right now the current new deaths per 100,000. This is, if you look, what I think is very telling and interesting is there is a swath through the United States that looks more light in color of gray, and then there's red all over the place. But I think it's very interesting that those states in that swath that you see from top to bottom, splitting the country in half, are mostly red states. I would say if you go to North Dakota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas to Texas, you've got that. So I thought that was interesting. The other thing to note about this is I wonder why Guam and American Samoa and the U.S. Virgin Islands aren't on the list. And I love how we already magically have 52 states in this. It's almost like someone wants to think of like D.C. and Puerto Rico as states for some purposes in advance. But isn't that interesting that those are listed? Yeah, I just thought.
But you'll see North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Idaho, Nebraska. They're all very, very light. Right. And what's interesting to me is that it was only a month or so ago that we are supposed to be embarrassed because that swath happened to be really dark. And so now I guess we're not supposed to be embarrassed,
I guess not.
and I guess Arizona is supposed to be embarrassed.
I think they should be embarrassed in Arizona. Isn't that interesting, though? I thought that was
Yeah.
a really nice map. Now, we're going to switch gears just a little bit, and we're going to talk a little bit about what Dr. Fauci is back and what he has to say about things, too. He has weighed in on double masking. And I cannot roll my eyes far enough back in my head for this, because the truth of the matter is he literally said that it is common sense.
To double mask?
I'm just going to leave that out there and let you think about that on your own for a moment. That is common sense.
Common sense to triple mask?
You know what? I think maybe we should quadruple mask. What do you think? I think, there you go. There you go. I think
Quadruple.
that looks like it's far safer and probably a lot easier to breathe, I'm sure, with it. I'm being facetious. But yeah, so that's the latest with Dr. Fauci. Now, CNBC has actually taken it even further now, and they put out a video recommending the triple mask, because two just could not be possibly enough. So CNBC says you need a you can't make this stuff up. You really, really, really cannot. At least one state, though, in the meantime, has decided nopey nope. Wisconsin, the state Senate has voted to repeal the mask mandate in Wisconsin issued by Governor Tony Evers last August. So somebody's stepping up in Wisconsin and saying, this is silliness and ridiculous, no masks.
Thank goodness.
I know, right? Now, meanwhile, I'm going to switch gears again.
Okay.
All right. Now, the next topic I'm going to talk about is teachers, because teachers in various places are saying no to in-person school until they get the vaccines. The deal is that certain teachers decide that it is far too dangerous for them to go back to school, and so therefore they are insisting that they get vaccinated first. And this goes into, Rick, the whole thing of who gets vaccinated first. Some states have first responders, some people have medical professionals, and then some people are feeling in the teaching profession that they are just not getting their vaccines.
Even though the science shows that kids rarely get it, or get it significantly, and rarely transmit it. That's what the science shows. For all the people that scream that someone who disagrees with them is anti-science, the science would indicate that the teachers are probably one of the last groups of people that should be worried about getting vaccinated. But because teachers are predominantly Democrat or left-leaning or unionized or what have you, they have that proclivity to do whatever.
Well,
Government is good.
this particular story that I'm referencing is an NBC News story, and it comes out of Chicago, if that tells you anything right there. Especially in Chicago, the nation's third largest public school district, teachers who were supposed to return to classrooms on Wednesday worked from home again and are once more threatening to strike. I'm sorry. Yeah. Okay. So while researchers from the Federal Centers for Disease Control...
90%, I'm sorry, 90, this is amazing. I was skeptical on what you were saying is 100% factual. These people are morons. Morons. Oh my God.
I know. Here we go.
Oh Lord.
So...
I'm having the big one.
Sometimes you're...
I can't take it. The stupidity is overwhelming. It's crushing.
It's just really, really tough. This is really a tough situation because it's hard not to make fun of it because it's just so ludicrous.
It's so sad.
It is. It's sad. It is.
It's sad. Stupidity is sad.
The last little tiny tidbit I want to give you about a COVID update is that new President Biden actively is looking at mandatory vaccination for domestic travel. That will mean that I will probably no longer travel because I don't do well with masks anyway. But the possibility of not being able to fly anywhere because you have not been vaccinated just seems absolutely ridiculous. And I knew that this was the trend. This is the way things were going, but yeah, this whole entire COVID update is riddled with ridiculousness, so I apologize.
I don't even want to go on with the rest of the show.
I know, right? Well, we've got some really good things coming up, so just know that there's better days ahead. We will have Representative Jason Dockter with us in just a moment here, so come right back.
If you want.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink for trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
Heroes and Icons is now Cozy TV. Don't worry, you'll still get your favorite Beck News programming without changing the channel. Real people, real news, Beck News.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Are you a thrill seeker, sightseer, or day tripper? The Ford Bronco Sport SUV is built for you. Four Bears Casino is giving away a 2021 Ford Bronco Sport loaded with a ton of interior space, safari-style roof, smooth suspension for any terrain, and easy-to-clean surfaces. Qualify now just by playing your favorite slots at Four Bears Casino. Double points on Sundays. Also get in on Super Senior Wednesdays, slot turning Thursdays, and hot seats on Wednesdays and Thursdays. Spin into Four Bears Casino and Lodge for chances to win.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Hey, we're back. We're going to try and shake off those moronic doldrums with regard to COVID. And we've got a special guest, Representative, my partner in crime in District 7, Jason Dockter, who is also chair of Political Subs. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on the show,
You
Rick.
are very welcome. Jason's one of the funniest guys I know, and he's probably one of the most well-liked legislators in the entire body. A distinction I certainly do not have, in which I got to say I'm a little envious of you. I
Watch
think
and learn, buddy.
he's
Watch
a
and learn.
super affable guy. But Jason, we brought you on today to talk about marijuana. And so you have a bill of which I've signed on as co-sponsor for recreational, as we call it, marijuana.
Yes.
Now, the first thing I have to ask you is how did you work it? So with bills in the legislature, the bill number starts with a 1 if it comes from the House and with a 2 if it comes from the Senate. And then it's whichever happens to be first, and that they're numbered sequentially. How did you get it so that this bill was number 420? 420.
To be honest with you, I was so naive to marijuana, I didn't even know it. And someone came up to me and said, "You're so clever to get 420 into the bill." But I went and I found out that it was a chronological order, and it just so happened it was 1420. So I think this bill is destined. Yes.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
That was a mistake? It was accidental?
Just serendipity.
Call
Yes.
me shocked.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
it's awesome. So anyway, I don't want to spend too much time on that,
That's
but
funny.
I love those little quirky things. Okay, so let's go ahead and pull up the first graph, gentlemen. Personal use of marijuana. So Jason, you've got it tied to being 21 years of age, much like alcohol, and you allow someone to have, use, etc., up to an ounce of marijuana. Tell me a little bit more about that. What made you sort of pick those numbers? And
Well, I just felt that, we've been trying to do decriminalization in the past. And I thought if we're going to do this, you can at least have 1 ounce without, we have enough, the courts are filled with enough other cases that they don't need to worry. So I just picked 1 ounce, and I asked someone what's 1 ounce. It's equivalent to about 15 joints. That's about what 1 ounce is equivalent to. And so we just picked that. We said 1 ounce or less, no harm, no foul. Anything above 1 ounce would be the same. The laws would be in effect that they currently are.
So now I haven't looked at, and I don't know, but you allow edibles, right?
That's correct.
So how does an ounce transfer, or how do you quantify? It wouldn't be an ounce of a cookie, right? It would have to be an equivalent amount of marijuana in the cookie?
Yes, and that, we have the hearing next week, and that's one of the things with the edibles is that it's so technical, I didn't realize, but the Attorney General's office, they actually have a lab person that works at the lab. They're going to go through all that and how to figure that out, and they're going to go and show everyone how with the edibles, how that translates. And so again, I'm very new to this because I do not smoke marijuana. I tell people the reason why I put this in, I don't want to be in the Constitution.
Yeah, exactly. I don't smoke marijuana either. So the next thing, motor vehicle. You have it where you can't have an open container. So again, similar, kind of trying to put the same constraints as we have with alcohol. I mean, that seems reasonable to me. But do you find that there is an issue, for instance, if you're, as far as like under the influence? Because there's an easy test for alcohol. What do we do for marijuana?
Glad you brought that up. They said they're working on that also. There's a saliva test that that they have that they're working on, and that's the difficulty with marijuana. It's not legalized federally, and so these states are putting legalized marijuana in. But with that being said, no one really knows, as far as with DUI laws and everything, how to regulate it. And so I just put it in to have the committee look at it, but I want something in the law. But yes, actually how to regulate it and how to find if they're under the influence. It's another one it's a little dicey on how currently, because I also have in my bill that employers are protected too. They can still fire someone if they take a drug test and they have marijuana in their system.
Sure.
And so I had to put that in because employers, that's a big concern. If you're going to have recreational marijuana, you don't want to have people at your business being high. So we had to put something in that bill also to cover that.
Right. Yeah, that'll be interesting. There's an additional part. Go ahead and pull that up. It is with regard to who is allowed to cultivate and so forth. And it's limited right now to compassion centers. So those are the ones that right now are dispensing for medical, right?
That's correct.
So that's a severe limitation. And normally I would be completely diametrically opposed to this. I'm okay with it, at least for about just a 2-year period until we come back again. But can you explain the reason for that? You and I agree on the reason.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm all for free market. But these compassion centers put so much money in initially with the licensing fee and everything else that they had to do in order to have medical marijuana. I felt for at least the first 2 years that they should be the ones that can sell the recreational marijuana and recoup some of the costs that they incurred over the last 2 years. But after that, I think we need to re-examine and look. I believe in the free market, and with the free market, you probably have prices that are lower, you have competition, and that's what America is built on. And
amen, brother, amen. So
just to the choir here,
just to be
Dockter.
clear, so I would normally never be in favor of the restriction, but just as Jason was saying, government forced these compassion centers to jump through so many hoops and cost so many hundreds of thousands of dollars that to only a couple years later to completely cut their knees out from under them by allowing competition which have no cost for entry to market, I don't think is fair. But now, again, for me and perhaps for you, right away in 2 years, I'd say, okay, you've had your head start, you paid for it, now government's going to get out of the way. I hope maybe that's going to happen.
Yes,
that's very compassionate of you.
Yes, Lori, that's what I was thinking when I put that into the bill.
Sorry.
Do you see any drawbacks as far as, or I should say this, what is the strongest argument that someone, do you think, poses for this bill as far as opposing it?
Well, we're a very conservative state, and they're going to say, you know, this has been illegal for years. Why are we bringing it to the state of North Dakota? We're fine. I mean, the blue laws, look how long it took us to get the blue laws passed.
For those people who are watching who do not know what the blue laws were, that meant that we couldn't necessarily open our stores on Sundays. So, I mean, people across the United States are like, what's a blue law? Yeah, but you're right, we had them for a very long time, and it was tough to get people convinced that those were outdated and no longer needed.
Yeah, and so that's why once South Dakota, they passed it, just not recreational, but also medical, they did the same into their constitution. I decided something needs to be done and try to make the law come from the lawmakers in North Dakota. So I'm trying something outside the box. I'm trying to be proactive. Usually we're reactive.
Right.
True.
Rick and Lori, to everything we do at the legislature, I'm trying to be proactive. And I know this is a hot topic, but
well, I agree with you. I don't think it belongs in the Constitution, and I think there is already something that's coming, possibly, that they're setting up for a constitutional initiated measure.
They did get it approved by Secretary of State, and only the main difference their measure versus my bill that I have in is that you can grow. They're allowed to grow so many plants, and I don't have that in my bill. That's for another time, another day, but for now,
I'd be in favor of that.
In 2 years?
Sure, I'd be in favor of it now, but
yeah, he'd be full throttle. I'm just trying to, you know,
ease in, start taking
ease
easy.
it in.
Yeah.
Which is probably, for North Dakotans, probably the best way. We don't do chop and change very well, I don't think, in North Dakota. We're kind of set in our ways a little bit, just a little.
Just a little. But that's in a lot of areas that's really good that we're like that.
Well, because
We've got just a minute left, so I was going to ask you, this is an interesting thing when you look at what the state is doing versus the federal government. It's illegal federally, at least for now, but yet we're going ahead with it. You know that there was a bill last session, and I've got one coming up this session, which says something similar. It doesn't say we're going to go ahead and make it legal, but with guns, if there's federal regulations that are more strict than our state regulations, this bill would just say, hey, that's fine. We're not saying that it's legal, but we're not going to enforce it in our state. I see a parallel between these two. Do you think there's a distinct difference that separates those philosophically, or?
No, I'm on the same wavelength as you are. Let us do what we need to do for our state, and let the feds, you know, we know what's best for our people in our state. And so, like these gun laws, I agree with you in that the recreational marijuana is the same way. Let us deal with it. You can have your federal laws, but we can take care of our citizens.
Yep. Well said. Well said.
you very
Well, it's been
much for
8 or
coming
9
on.
years
Thank
since
you.
we got elected together, Jason, and I think we're coming of one mind. That's amazing.
And then we're just basically fire and ice. That's how I look at it.
All right, folks, we will be back with another wonderful guest. Hang with us.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's Best Contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
In southwestern and south central North Dakota, on any given day at any given moment, a Dakota Community Bank and Trust customer is logging in or signing on to do their online or mobile banking. We believe that community banking can blend both the past with down-home customer service in-house and the future with modern banking conveniences and technology for our customers anywhere, like here or here, all while honoring our long-standing tradition of community-first oriented banking here at Dakota Community Bank and Trust.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's we talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
Beck News brings you real people and real news. Every weekday on KNDB, KNDM, and KRDK. Start your evening with the Dr. Duke Show at 4. Take a fresh look at current events with Ladies of Another View at 4:30. Go down the road with Joel at 5:30. Watch No Apologies with Becker at 9. Cap off your night with No Filter with Debbie at 10. Beck News. Real people, real news.
The professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck, your after-hours oasis of sanity. I'm your host, Rick Becker, our co-host, Lori Hintz, and our special guest, Representative Keith Kempenich.
Hello.
Also most recently known as the spaghetti in a can guy. He brought me some Chef Boyardee. It's not his brand, but now I'm able to have lunch tomorrow, so thank you very much. I appreciate that, Keith.
How did that even, I just have to ask, how did that even start? Seriously.
Well, we got a bill in to look at meal reimbursement, and it's actually for next biennium, but it got started on some comments, and truthfully, it got to be kind of joking around. The spaghetti part of it did. It wasn't so much that we were talking seriously about it, but
it's funny how it gets a life of its own.
Yeah,
isn't
it is, because I do eat that actually. You know, I mean, and it's just a quick meal, and truthfully, when you're up there. These last 2 weeks, I've been missing most lunch meals and stuff, and so I picked up a couple cans, and I do it at home when we're out in the field. I just throw a can in because it's a quick meal, and I had it that day, and we were kind of joking around, and the one legislator, Jeff Delzer, was kidding me about it, and I said, hey, I had this was a buck a can here. Jeff goes, well, I can do beanie weenies for 50 cents. He's always trying to be cheaper than we are. And so we were just joking around, and it kind of got overheard, and so the rest is history.
Yeah.
That's fantastic.
Everything you say
Yep.
can be. Okay, so
all right, let's
now,
dive in.
The thing that you're here for is House Bill 1358, which deals with hedging. Now, I'll start off by saying that what you're proposing is to take some of the volatility out of our budgeting. So again, folks, remember, we are budgeting a lot of the revenue that we have and appropriating it based on projections, not on money we have in the bank, but on money we think we're going to have over the next 2 years. And that money is in large part now based on oil, and there are large fluctuations in oil, and that gives a huge amount of volatility. So if we can take out some of the peaks and take out some of the troughs, it gives us a little bit more stability, and we're able to budget more effectively without having some shocks, and we've had a couple of shocks lately. Is that a good summary?
Yes, it is, and a lot of people, I know there was some comment, during the hearing that, this is high risk type stuff, and truthfully it isn't. We're not into exotic hedging or anything like that. Basically, what we're looking at is options, is what it is, and that's basically buying a floor. It's insurance, basically, is what it does. And you pick a number, like right now, I didn't look at it today, but oil's been up around that upper 50s price mark, and so you buy out of the money. We're trying to use $40 oil, and as far as our benchmark for budgeting this year, but you'd be out of the money as far as that, because $50 some is what the market's bringing today, and that's West Texas. And if we went to 40, it'd cost us something to do that, but we could lock in $40 oil and know we could have it if we had some type of situation like last year,
Right.
where it drops out of sight. And there is some. I was hoping that we could get this on the TV, but there was some scenarios that we had the bank do. We had a bill in this similar last session. And so the bank was to run a study on it, basically, and using just basically monopoly money. But
well, hold 1 second, Keith. So
Okay.
we'll take a quick look at this. So this is what we're looking at for what has happened over the past several bienniums. And the straight line type thing is what we're budgeting, what our assumption is of what oil is going to be. And then you can see there are years that we're under, and then there are years that we're over, and the years that we're over is where it's very problematic. Now, go ahead to the next graphic.
Okay.
And this, I'm not sure if this is what you're talking about, the hypothetical here.
It explains part of it.
Okay.
And then the actual of what the let's see, is that the explanation?
The drop in oil prices led to significant payouts on hedges between April and September.
Yep, that's their explanation of what what they're showing, and it basically is this. I was hoping that you'd have this one up here. But this is the payment summary and the hedge portfolio. And the bank in their scenarios it has had over $94 million to the positive by doing these types of hedges, and at a cost of about $14 million.
Right. So then that's where you get when in a graphic where it said you'd have netted about 80 million because you would have been ahead by 94 million, but it cost you, your insurance policy was 14 million. Right? And then if oil was going really great, you'd be out the 14 million. But it wouldn't be as big of a deal because oil's going really great.
Well, see, and that's exactly right. And that's where this conversation comes into play, is that you take the bottom, you set a limit on the bottom. And you can do stuff for zero cost, they call them collars, but you're limiting your upside potential on it. And in a volatile market, especially we're depending on a bottom is what that's the primary focus. And so we more than likely wouldn't use that. And if this passes, we'd be using consultants. I did propose amendments to put together a group to pull the trigger, because you're going to have people that are willing to do this. We've got laws on the books right now that the NDIC could engage in this right now, and but there's no money there to do it. And truthfully, you aren't going to get statewide elected people to do this anyways. So
we've only got a minute left. So what money are you proposing to use in your bill at this time? Where
well,
does it come from?
What I'm doing is taking some out of the legacy fund and figuring on that if we, be successful at this, it'd become a self-funding fund that we just pay back. I'm doing 20 million because it gives us enough room to actually, this scenario took care of about a third of the oil production. And and truthfully, you'll never do 100%, but 75-80% would be probably realistic. And so you're talking more money than what even 20 million would do. But for right now, I figured to get this started, and you kind of see what our experience has been. That'd be enough to get it become a self-funding and put a little bit into the.
I think it's a great way to go for. Our state that is relying so much on a commodity, a volatile commodity, we got to cut those. We got to cut those.
Well, we got to manage it. We got to manage not only the spending but the revenue part of this. So that's
thank you very much for coming
Keith,
on.
thank you. Really appreciate you being here.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot
about this topic.
Good luck with the spaghetti in a can.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Yeah,
I'll talk to you.
You can see. When we come back, we are going to talk brain food.
Howdy folks, it's the Canine Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our hay-bossing breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar, sink your teeth into our famous Canine burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Since opening in Hebron in 1940, Dakota Community Bank and Trust has been your hometown bank. Our mission has been to provide modern banking convenience with old-fashioned hometown service. We've grown with the communities we serve through year-round events, countless sponsorships, and nearly 7,000 hours of volunteering each year. Learn more about our 80-year history at dakotacommunitybank.com.
Jeez, what a mess. Look at that. There's roof stuff everywhere. It's so embarrassing. Ruins the neighborhood. Come on, humans. Let's get this fixed.
Don't let your roof go to the dogs. Call America's best contractors for your free estimate.
Need a new woof?
After checking with the rest, go with the best. America's Best Contractors. 258-2412. Online at americasbestcontractorsincorporated.com.
For the greatest selection and full menu offering, it's the Four Seasons Restaurant and Ice Cream Parlor in Garrison. Succulent sandwiches, big breakfasts served all day, and delicious desserts. Easy access in and out for campers and RVs. The Four Seasons Restaurant at the top of Main Street, Garrison.
Some things in life are hard. That's why banking shouldn't be. Cornerstone Bank.
Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. That canned ravioli was delicious.
Ooh, tasty.
Yes. So it's time for brain food, nutrition for your noggin.
Brain. I love this. I really enjoy the segment just simply because we get to kind of pick whatever we want about this. And I have a couple of different interesting words. The first word that I have came from Ben Shapiro. He actually used this in a sentence, and I will read the sentence to just set up for you on this word. He said, "Prepare for 4 years of media sycophancy."
Oh, yes. That's for sure.
Right? Sycophancy. Well, and it comes, of course, from the base word sycophant. And sycophant is a word that has a very short meaning. The word sycophant just simply means, it's a noun that means a servile, self-seeking flatterer.
A yes man.
A yes man. And so the synonyms are fantastic for sycophant. They are just so great. Apple polisher. Ever heard that one before? Bootlicker, brown noser. That would be the more common vernacular around here. A brown noser would be a sycophant. Fawner, a flunky. I think that's interesting. And also a lickspittle. I have never heard the word lickspittle before. It's all one word, too. Lickspittle is a sycophant. Or a toady. Or a suck-up.
Someone who would do very well in the Brigham administration, perhaps.
Okay, like, bring that around.
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Just chill.
All
Okay,
right.
so sycophant.
Sycophant. I like that word.
I do too.
I use that occasionally, yeah.
Sycophancy. And referring to the media, I thought that was very apropos.
Yes. Yes. They will be very obsequious.
Ooh,
Another word for it.
obsequious.
Okay.
We've got a new word.
Alrighty. So mine, last night we were talking a little bit about some aspects of a job of mine. And so tonight we'll talk about some other aspects of another part of my life. So first up, we have a Fizz. A Fizz. A Fizz is a class of alcoholic beverage. And it's interesting. It's essentially any acidic juice.
Okay.
Or we call it sour in the bar industry. Any acidic juice and soda, and with a a liquor of some sort, of course, a spirit. So the most common is a gin fizz, and that would involve
Lemon?
gin, very good, lemon juice, and sugar. So a lot of the fizzes will have a sugar component with it. A silver fizz, you add egg white.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's actually pretty good. It gives it a little more substance, just a little bit of froth.
Interesting.
They have fake egg whites too you can use. But yeah, it sounds gross, but it actually isn't bad at all. A diamond fizz, you add champagne instead of soda water. And that's also known as a French 75.
The French
so
75 and a silver fizz are the same thing?
A diamond fizz.
Oh, a diamond fizz.
Yeah,
a diamond fizz,
right.
okay.
And then you may have heard of a slow gin fizz, and then you're just using slow gin instead of gin.
Right.
And you're using typically grapefruit
I was going to say, I was going to ask about the
instead
acidic
lemon
fruit there.
juice.
So can you use orange flavored? Are there
suppose
orange
that's-
fishes? It's acidic, but
Yeah, but it's also much more sweet. Typically it'd be lime, lemon, grapefruit. I'm trying to remember if there's something else, but that would
lemon,
be
lime,
a typical.
grapefruit, maybe not orange.
Yeah.
Interesting. I just ask about orange because that is my husband's all-time favorite flavor. So I'm going to have to come up with an invented orange fizz for the man.
There you go.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. So we're learning about alcohol. One night it's breast implants, the next it's alcohol. It's fabulous.
It's all the best stuff.
This is why this is so entertaining to all of us. Okay, I'm going to go to my second word. And my second word is up on the screen in 3, 2, 1. There it is, plunder. And plunder is an interesting word that Rick Becker used on the show the other day and that you maybe see in some of our quotes that we use occasionally as well. To plunder, what does it mean to plunder? It is a verb, and it means to rob of goods or valuables by open force, as in war, hostile raids, brigandage. Brigandage? I've never used that word before, like a brigandage. To rob, despoil, or fleece means to plunder. And to take plunder or pillage. I've heard that word used with plunder before.
Yeah.
Plunder and pillage.
Despoil. I like despoil.
Isn't that interesting?
I'm going to use that sometime.
Despoil. To plunder the public treasury means to despoil. Oh, perfect.
I partake in despoiling like every day for about 80 days every other year
Right?
in the capital.
To rob, despoil, or fleece, to take wrongfully as by pillage, robbery or fraud, to plunder a piece of property. So you're taking somebody else's things.
Yep.
And it really does probably work in the legislature, I'm guessing.
Frederick Bastiat uses that term a lot, and that's where we used it the other night.
That's what it was, that's
yes,
right. And
absolutely.
we were using the word plunder.
Okay. My next one is another category of drink. It's kind of almost a subcategory of the fizz, and it's
Okay.
known as the Ricky.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Ricky.
That's
but
fantastic.
with an E.
With an E, okay,
Yeah,
got it.
So whereas a fizz, you can use pretty much any kind of alcohol. A Ricky would typically be either gin or bourbon. And it would be, as far as the sour, instead of lemon or grapefruit or anything, it's almost always just lime.
Always lime.
And soda.
Oh.
Whereas a fizz commonly has sugar, a Ricky almost never has sugar. So it's a little more, I don't know, more simple and a little more spirit forward, as we say when the drink is strong.
Spirit forward and less
typically,
sweet.
You take a lime and you squeeze that sucker in there, and then you pour in the liquor, and then that's it. Now a mojito.
I love me a mojito.
A mojito is kind of somewhere between a Ricky and a fizz.
It's like a byproduct of one. How is it between the two of them?
Well,
You've got mint,
it's lime,
sugar. You've got the sugar from the fizz.
Mint, sugar, lime specifically, and then it's interesting. You can use it's commonly with rum, so it's more like a fizz, but very very focused on the limes, like a Ricky.
I think that the greatest thing of the mojito is it's a clean taste. It's a very good summertime drink because it's cool and clean and crisp, and that I like in the summertime mostly.
Yeah.
I like a good mojito too. You can do different flavors with your mojito as well. I haven't really experimented a great deal, but
Basil.
I do basil.
Allspice.
Really,
Yes.
rather than the leaves of
The mint.
mint.
Yeah, lemongrass.
Really?
Was amazing.
Okay, note to self.
But you kind of do half the mint and then add the other stuff. So
Very
the
cool.
lemongrass mojito is top notch.
Note to self. No, I trust you because you once told me, okay, you're really going to like this gin tonic, and I did. It was really mad
It's
when
with
it
the
went
homemade
away.
tonic, yeah.
And I just love that. I never thought I was going to be a gin drinker at all until Dr. Becker introduced me to it. It was very good. All right. All right.
I'm despoiling your palate.
Right, perhaps, despoiling it. Anyway, enough brain food. When we come back, we're going to talk about a totally different subject, which I do not have in front of me. Do you have that in front of you? Let me look.
Yes, we are going to be talking
I
about
know
the
what we're gonna do.
Biden-Sanders Unity Task Force.
Oh, this is such a great topic. We'll be back with it.
Howdy, folks. It's a Line Cafe. I reckon it's time you're due for a hearty meal. So saddle up for the day with one of our hey-bossing breakfast homemade soups. Fill your grill at a salad bar. Sink your teeth into our famous Line burger and barbecue ribs. Top it off with spoon-rattling pie with a calm roll that's sure to put a smile on even the toughest outlaws. Shake the dirt off the boots each night and warm up with the gang. Tell them about it, Stacy.
I can't wait to see you at the county line.
Hi, I'm Dennis Haugen, along with my sons Andy and Mike, and we're showing our support for wind energy in North Dakota.
Wind energy has provided farmers like us with a steady stream of income that's not tied to the weather like crops and cattle are.
Another bonus is that wind farm owners are required to maintain the roads leading up to the turbines. Because of that, oftentimes these roads are the best in the county. Wind energy is good for landowners, it's good for the land, it's good for our economy, and it's good for North Dakota.
Capital City Restaurant Supply is your one-stop shop for quality restaurant products for the large to small kitchens. Commercial-grade restaurant and bar supplies, limb game processing equipment, refrigeration, dinnerware, and smallware. We sell everything including the kitchen sink for trusted manufacturers for the chef and all of us. Open to the public since 1971, we are veteran-owned and North Dakota proud. Let us take care of your restaurant and home kitchen needs today by visiting us at 1414 Interstate Loop in Bismarck or on the web at capitalcityrestaurantsupply.com.
My wife was diagnosed with early stage Alzheimer's. We talked about it and we kind of decided we'd be a little bit proactive and try to start making provisions. So we started looking here, and Eventide worked out to be pretty much the perfect answer. I guess I didn't expect it to be so nice. The staff here are terrific. We enjoy it.
The professionals at Superior Glass provide residential and commercial glass installation and repair services in central and western North Dakota. Superior Glass is your source for stained glass projects, mirrors, windows, touchless and automated entry solutions. Stop by and see us at 3323 East Broadway in Bismarck or call us at 701-258-5600. Superior Glass, where you get superior service for less. Bye for now.
Now is the best time to plan for your 2021 farm equipment needs. North Dakota-based Summers Manufacturing is currently offering early order savings. Take advantage of big savings on North America's broadest tillage line, including the Super Kohler Samurai and the innovative VRT Renegade, as well as the best built, best backed land rollers in the industry. Talk to your Summers dealer today or go to summersmfg.com to learn more about early order savings available on all Summers equipment.
All right, somehow we're getting by without not even 4 masks, 3 masks, 2 masks, or 1, but we're getting by. And you're back with no apologies on Beck, and we are at our final segment tonight. Thanks for sticking with us.
What we're going to tackle this time is something rather large. After Biden got the Democratic nomination in July of last year, he and Bernie Sanders got together and they decided that they were going to put together the, quote, Biden-Sanders Unity Task Force recommendations. 110 fun-filled, single-spaced, picture-free pages of manifesto for what they intend to do to the country.
Good word, manifesto.
Isn't that a great word? And they're going to do this to the country during this entire Biden administration. And as you can see, it's rather banal and not very exciting. Again, no pictures. So we're going to briefly going through this monstrosity a little bit of a time, and we'll try to continue this during the coming weeks, just to go through it and warn you basically about what they have planned.
It's important, and we are going to go through a lot of it, and we're going to keep hitting it. We're going to hit it tomorrow night. We'll hit bits and pieces of it over the course, as you said, of the next several weeks. One of the big things that I want to point out is how unity is such a significant component here.
Right.
Unity Task Force. And what you see outlined in these 110 pages has nothing to do with unity.
Right.
That, I think, has to be the overarching prism that we view this through, is that they will say unity, 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 but it's unity so long as you come all the way to their position. And then there's unity. So unity is this weird euphemistic way that they're saying, you either come with us or we will try and demolish you.
No, and they will try, and they're already demolishing people too. It's disgusting already. So the very first item, if you look in this monstrosity, shall we just call it the monstrosity?
Yes.
Is combating the climate crisis and pursuing environmental justice. Now, pursuing environmental justice. Since when?
Well, right. Yeah, climate change is not evenly distributed, the impacts of it are not evenly distributed in our society or our economy. You know, the thing is...
It doesn't even make sense.
Everything they position using the narrative of race, of socioeconomic class, of gender, everything must be viewed as a way to divide people.
What I don't understand about this is that the weather affects everyone. And if they're talking about climate change and particularly disasters, and what they're talking about is, okay, floods and all sorts of hurricanes and things like that. Now, that's what I look at when I think climate change, is I think about the weather and how that is affecting. Now, it doesn't pick and choose to whom it's going to, you know, affect, in my mind.
Right. Right. Well, exactly right. And they point out, they give examples of, it was, let's see, a county, I'm looking here, Lowndes County in Alabama, the city of Flint, Michigan. The Navajo Nation. These are all areas that have been run by Democrats.
Correct.
And they point those out as areas of which there is a significant lack of equity or equality or what have you, where there's a disparate
Right. Well, and I was thinking a disparity between haves and have-nots, but they're the cause of that because they're the leadership there, are they not?
Well, that's the thing, is that, and that's the same with so many of the big cities. Most of the big cities are under Democrat leadership and have been for, I mean, just take a look at Minneapolis. They talk about how there's this problem with social injustice, and yet they've had control for all these years. So I don't understand, if we go along, if we have unity with their plan, how do we get away from what it is that they themselves have had control over and created for all of these decades?
Precisely. And in Minneapolis, for example, they're the ones who want to defund the police, and they're, you know, complaining, well, we're having more crime. I'm like, seriously, let's think this through a little bit, people. If you're defunding the police and your crime goes up, you know, you're causing your own problems. So it seems really silly. Some scientists actually disagree with the socioeconomic issue, even if they accept the premise that humans are causing climate change through carbon dioxide emissions. Scientists disagree, of course, about the trade-offs involved with this as well. So you got to look at all of the other sides of the matter. And I think scientists you're always going to have scientists that are able to pick and choose what it is they want to focus on. I mean, to me, it's very nebulous. There is not...
You'll find experts to support whatever it is that you want to propose.
Thank you for articulating what I was so desperately trying to say. Thank you.
Another thing, again, we see race in here all the time, everywhere. They go so far as to say that the highway system, the placement of the highways in and around the cities, is for the purpose of racial segregation. These people are off their rocker. They're absolute. Again, everything is a message of division. Everything is a message of oppression. Everything is a message of victimization.
Absolute opposite of unity.
Yeah. So let's go to the next graphic, because that underscores again the so-called unity. We will help rebuild our economy from the COVID-19 pandemic and President Trump's recession. So in their message of unity, they're
trying to pin on him the recession.
They are labeling the recession, which was caused not by President Trump, not by COVID, but by the governors of the various states which implemented all these severe business-crushing restrictions they themselves did, primarily Democrats, not
Yep.
solely as obviously
almost.
seen in North Dakota, but they somehow are going to put that on Trump's shoulders, and that is unbelievable.
When you look at that right now on your screen, that is revisionist history right there. They are absolutely making things up that are not true and then using that as the basis for this manifesto, which is laughable.
Yep. Well, the manifesto comes, and it's appropriately named as, or called that, sort of referring back, at least in my mind, to the Communist Manifesto. Everything that comes from a Biden-Sanders manifesto is going to be based on reinforcing the idea that capitalism is bad, that racism stems from capitalism.
Right.
This is the same message that BLM has, and they aim to upset everything as we know it, as far as American traditions, as far as what has driven us to be the most powerful nation on this earth. And they want to completely flip it.
Yep.
And they are going to demonize and vilify capitalism and those that believe in free market, and they will instead interpose their belief that there should be some kind of crazy, socialist, complete redistribution.
I got to be perfectly honest with you. Every single time you say Sanders, I feel like I should go like this and that I should have my mittens on. I am so sorry
Is that
about
right?
that, but I can't help it.
Every time you say Biden, I want to go like this and see if he's sniffing my hair.
All right. On our next program, I hope you can join us because we're going to have a very, very good show. We will be completing the week with yet another legislator, and we are going to finish up with another episode of Off the Cuff next time here on No Apologies with Becker on Beck.
And next on Beck is No Filter with Debbie. Hang tight.